to Jennifer Aydin's face, right? So Kim D said that she said that Danielle was ghetto, like she was speaking ghetto because she said to Jennifer, I see you, I see you. And then Kim proceeded to say, oh, my son, I have a son and he's a little ghetto too, but he would never speak like that. So I don't know what was so bad about saying I see you and what part of that constitutes ghetto. I'm surprised that that's what she found ghetto. Like, I think what's ghetto is fighting. That's definitely ghetto, like throwing drinks and all of that stuff. You know what I mean? Like throwing tables to, like, that's ghetto. Like if you're acting like that. But saying I see you, I don't know. I don't see what the big deal was. But anyways, so and then Kim started talking, and I guess apparently, and I did not see that on social media, guys. Not to say that it's not out there or it didn't exist, because now that she mentioned it, I've been seeing that on, YouTube. There's a lot of bloggers and YouTubers that are talking about that. So apparently there was this big movement going on trying to get Danielle Cabral fired from the show after she got physical with Jennifer, because, people said that there was blood and Jennifer was cut and all of that. So there was like this big movement going on behind the scenes where fans were upset and trying to get Danielle Cabral to lose her job. So they touched on that. And then Kim D said, and the girls from All About Their Truth, they both agreed that Danielle Cabral should not lose her job for being like physical towards Jennifer. And Kim D gave like an example of Portia. She brought up the example of Portia when she was at the reunion with Kenya Moore, and after Portia dragged Kenya, by the hair and all of that, and then Carlos King came to the rescue and took Portia out of like the stage and brought her backstage. So Kim D said, well, if Portia did not lose her job after getting physical with Kenya, there's really no reason for Danielle to lose hers, right? And I'm not even saying that she should. At the end of the day, I understand that this is reality TV and it's the nature of the beast and things like that will happen. But I think Kim was incorrect in her statement, because Portia did in fact get demoted the following season after that altercation. First, she was not even able to wrap up the reunion. She had to leave right after the altercation. Andy told her, well, I think, obviously you have too much on your plate and maybe it's best that you go home. So they continued taping the reunion without Portia, right? And then the following season, we didn't see Portia on the show. Like, I think we saw her in a very reduced role. And the same goes for Nene, right? After that whole altercation with the cameraman and how it blew up on social media, and everybody was just like, oh my gosh, like, look at what Nene did. Like, she tore this guy's shirt down and all of that. Like the following season, I think it took like 5 or 6 episodes before we even saw Nene on the show. Like, she was definitely in a reduced role as well. And so for Kim to say that, there has been no consequences before, like for ladies to act in that manner, it's not true. I think it's only true for Jersey, actually, or some of these other franchises, because you have a person like Teresa who started the show season 1. She flipped an entire table at Danielle. And although, no one was hurt, and Danielle was not hurt and all of that, she still got like an entire table full of food and drinks and cutlery and all of that thrown at her, right? Teresa Giudice was the only and first housewife to throw or put her hands on an executive producer while on air. Like, she shoved Andy back into his chair and, for the world to see, like, and it was pretty violent. Like, Andy, like, I don't know, like, he couldn't do, he couldn't do anything. And some people say, oh, I think that was staged. I don't think that was staged. Like, I've seen it so many times. And Teresa looked really upset. She was ready to just come after Danielle. And Teresa has said it many, many times. She does not like to be restrained by people. She doesn't like when people hold her back. So I don't think she even saw that it was Andy in that moment. She would have done the exact same thing to anybody, I think. But the person who got caught in the crossfire was Andy Cohen, right? So, and if you guys recall, the only consequence that Teresa had was really nothing. I think the next day after that show aired, like that reunion show after Teresa pushed Andy, Teresa was on Watch What Happens Live, and she had first chair, and the person who had second chair was, I think her name is Stacey Johnson. Can't remember if her last name is correct, but her first name is definitely Stacey, and she was from the Real Housewives of DC. She was on Watch What Happens Live with Teresa, and Andy even asked her a question, do you think that Teresa acted classy, like on the show, blah, 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 tonight? And she's like, I'm sorry, Teresa, I love you, but you were definitely not classy. And she was like, Teresa was restrained, like she had a restraining belt on her, like she couldn't get up and move out of her seat. That was the only consequence that Teresa suffered from pushing Andy on national TV, right? So she definitely did not lose her job. She did not appear in a reduced role. But for Nene and Portia, you know, there was some financial impact, right? They were affected financially from as a result of their actions, like violent actions on the show, right? So I just thought I would throw that out there because that was not accurate for Kim D to say that on the show.